Today we get to talk about all things American history and American geography. Hi, my name's Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I'm very thankful that you're here. On my channel, we talk about all things homeschool. And right now we are in the middle of talking about our plans for the 2021-2022 school year. This video is a collaboration with Ingrid from the Ingrid Chronicles and Kim the Homeschooling Grammy, as well as some other mamas. So please make sure to check out their channels as well as a playlist that I will link below for so many ideas on teaching history and geography in the coming school year. My daughter is going into the 5th grade and she loves American history. Quite a few pieces that we're going to discuss, and the first thing I want to talk about is how these resources can be utilized for students that are across a wide variety of grades. So please don't think that they're only for 5th grade, because they truly are for everyone. First of all, let's talk about what my goals are for this year. So in U.S. geography, in 3rd grade, my daughter learned where all the states were. In 4th grade, she learned all of the states and capitals, as well as some general information. In 5th grade, I am wanting to delve deeper into the individual states, let her choose some to really focus on, as well as give just a little bit more general information about geography. We are using the Evan Moore skill sharpeners for geography. One of the reasons that we picked this is there are quite a few hands-on projects to do with this workbook, and she is very much a hands-on person. Anything that you can come up with that are hands-on or experimental type projects, then she likes that. We have already started this and she is enjoying it. I do have more of a flip through, which I will link here, but this is the main general geography workbook that she's going to do. Last year we did use Passport to America for Master Books. We went through the whole book, but this year where she is going to have to do some more research on her own, this is a book that she's going to be able to utilize. Another resource that she has is this United States of America. She really likes these pieces where you can spin. So as you spin it, it goes through the different states. So for example, here's Rhode Island. It tells you the state, where the name comes from, nickname, etc. There, and you can go through and it has a nice big map of the United States in it. So this is just something a little bit extra. She enjoys looking through it. She likes doing the spinning. So we have this for her to look through. Now, the first state that she said that she was interested in finding more about was California. So we have the 10 Little Monsters from California, which is a picture book. This is just a fun book that talks about different places in California. So I thought that this was just a fun addition. We do have a couple of games that we're going to use. The first is the Scrambled States of America, which is a very fun game. I have our flashcards for states and capitals, and then we have the Rolling America game. She likes this one okay, but she really likes the Scrambled States of America better, so I would say that we will be playing this one a lot more. That is our plan for U.S. geography. Now let's get into history. So for history, last year we did America's Story 1 for Master Books. This year we are doing America's Story 2. The way America's Story is set up is you have 2 days of reading. So basically you have day 1 of reading. So there's day 1. And then you'll get to the narration break. And then for day 2, you have a little bit more reading, and then you have pictures. So this is part of your day 2 reading. And then you have the summary and looking forward. So the way America's Story is set up is 2 days of reading and then 2 days of projects. Last year we did America's Story 1. We did not utilize the teacher's guide very much, so we're going to work on America's Story 2 without the teacher's guide. And we'll see how it goes. I did purchase the America's Story 2 timeline. This gives you pictures that go along with the individual chapters. Now, I did it on a trifold board last year. We glued these pictures to the trifold board, and it didn't really work out very well. I just had too many trifold boards, and I didn't use a wall because I didn't have the wall space. My friend Megan from Pennies and Salt, she recommended putting them on index cards and then a ring through the index, through the corner of the index card, so that they can have the picture from the timeline on the front, and they can write interesting facts concerning that picture on the back. And so I think we're going to give that a try for this year. So thank you, Megan. I will link the video where she discusses this down below. So please make sure that you check out Megan's channel for some great ideas. America's Story 2 goes from the Civil War through the Industrial Revolution. I am anticipating finishing this early just because I know how much my daughter likes history, and this is one of the things that she will want to do every day. So between the textbook and then some of the rabbit trails and projects that we do, she wants to do history every day. So I did go ahead and purchase America's Story 3. And so it starts with the early 1900s and goes to modern times. If we get to this, great. If we don't get to it, that's great too. That just means that we've been having a lot of fun with America's Story 2. The other piece that I have that will cover everything is the Smithsonian American History. We used this last year. It was awesome. We loved the pictures and then the information that's included. So this is just a nice resource for us to use. So when I'm thinking about American history, what are we planning for this year? What do we want to accomplish? Number one, I want her to learn the presidents. I want her to be able to go through the presidents from George Washington up to wherever we end. And we may get through America's Story 2 and 3, and that would be fine. And then she can know all the presidents, or we may get through America's Story 2. So I want her to learn the presidents. Number two is I want her to have a good understanding of the Civil War. America's Story 2 does spend quite a bit of time with regards to the Civil War, up through chapter 7. They talk about the Civil War, the end of the Confederacy, and then our bruised and broken country. Then we go to the Transcontinental Railroad, and so that's something that was very important to our country, so I want to talk about that. I want her to understand it quite a bit. Then it's really important for her to understand the Industrial Revolution, how that impacted everyday lives. So the chapters that are covered in America's Story 2 are chapters that we are very interested in. But let's talk about, first of all, learning the presidents, because that is something that I want her to know. We actually started this last year. So I have the President's book from DK, and she has a presidential notebook. For each president, she will have a sticker for the president, and then she has to fill them in on a page in this notebook. She will look up the president in this book, and in her notebook, she'll talk about when he was born and died, when the years he was president, an interesting fact about him, and something that he's known for. So there are 5 things that she needs to put in her notebook for each president. And so this is really helping her grasp a little bit more about them. Now, and she does like the presidents, but what she really likes is the first ladies. So we purchased Smart About the First Ladies. She really likes this book. While she has been looking up in the presidents and writing in her notebook, I have been reading to her the information about the first ladies that go along with that individual president. I can no longer say they're married to the president, because I have learned sometimes the daughters acted as first ladies. Sometimes the daughter-in-laws acted as first ladies. So we're learning a lot about the first ladies as well. Some books that we have to talk about the presidents. Who was Abraham Lincoln? And who was Ulysses S. Grant? I also have So You Want to Be President. So this is a fun book because it gives some interesting information, but without it being too serious. For example, here it says, you probably weren't born in a log cabin. That's too bad. People are crazy about log cabin presidents. So it's just a fun book. We also have the Brain Quest President. So here's deck 1. You can see there are a number of questions on there, and then there's also answer keys. And there are 2 decks included. So this is a fun thing to learn about, great facts about presidents. Next, let's focus on the Civil War. We have started reading the not so boring letters of Private Nobody, and this is a fun book. It is very interesting while being informative. Basically, a couple of kids have to do a project, and they are assigned a private nobody. Or so they think, a private nobody. One of the kids is a huge Civil War buff, so he was upset about getting assigned this hero, and then his partner he didn't want to be partners with. So it's just it's a fun book. So this is a good one. And then we're also going to be doing Mary Bowser Civil War Spy Ring. So this is a mystery where you have to solve the mystery, and you get different clues to use with solving the mystery. And so this is a fun one. We have who was Robert E. Lee, and then what was the Battle of Gettysburg. Ellie will be memorizing the Gettysburg Address, and so I want her to understand the importance of that address and why she needs to memorize it. We also have famous figures of the Civil War. So this is where you get to put together famous figures from the Civil War, and then we'll be able to act out the Civil War with these figures, why they were important. And so I'm really excited about this resource. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Also have History Pockets. Now, if you watched my review on American History 1, you know how much I love History Pockets. We had a great time with the History Pockets for the Revolutionary War, so we're going to work on the History Pockets for the Civil War as well. Walt Whitman did write Old Captain, My Captain about Abraham Lincoln. When I was in school, I learned Old Captain, My Captain. I could recite it. I didn't know it was about Abraham Lincoln. So this book is one that we're just going through to talk about Walt Whitman and why he wrote the poem about Abraham Lincoln. And then she will probably, just for the sake of the fact that we are reading Old Captain, My Captain so many times, I would say that she will memorize it just from that repetition. I don't think it's going to be a requirement of her, but I do think that she will just from reading this book. We do have a movie, Light of Freedom. This says the year is 1861 as President Lincoln calls for 75,000 men to join the Union Army. The nation teeters on the brink of civil war. So we're going to be watching The Light of Freedom. And finally for the Civil War, we do have a cricket cobblestone. This is a magazine subscription. We got it off of Amazon, and this one is all about after the Civil War Reconstruction, and so we'll be looking through this as well. That is what I have specifically for the Civil War. Now next is the Transcontinental Railroad, which we will be playing Ticket to Ride. So Ticket to Ride is all about the building of the railroad. So that is a lot of fun. A few additional books that I want to read are Ida B. Wells, Annie Sullivan and the Trials of Helen Keller, Florence Nightingale, and then we will also be reading about the Statue of Liberty. When we talk about American immigrants, we have our American History comic book. She really enjoyed this last year. It is where this little guy right here gets on a time machine and he goes back in time to some major events. Now we will be talking about American immigrants in the New York Harbor. So there's the Statue of Liberty. And he always says something that's just funny. And so We really enjoy this. The last few resources that I do have are the interactive 3D map for American history. This is something that she really enjoys. This is something that she really enjoys, and we do these when we don't have the full history pocket, but I want a little bit more information on it. She just did one on the Pony Express, so it shows the route that they took, and then it also talks about how that route was where they put the lines for the telegraph stations, and then we have Morse code. So we talked about all of those while we did this project. If your child is into coloring, you can definitely color this. Mine is not. Now there are 2 more games that I am planning on playing quite a bit. The History of the United States from Professor Noggins. And then this one was kind of an unexpected find. It's Who's It. So if you have never seen Who's It, it is made by Game Right. And what you do, different cards that have people's names on it or a type of job. And then you have to give clues basically so your partner can guess who it is that you are trying to lead them to. When we were playing it the other day, she got these cards. So we had to choose between Abraham Lincoln, Leonardo da Vinci, a government employee, Benjamin Franklin, and Pocahontas. And what was awesome is that we had just read about Abraham Lincoln, and so she was able to say he was funny, he was known for his sense of humor, he was tall, and those types of facts she could incorporate into this game, and it just made it more fun for her. So Who's It is definitely not a history only game, but it is a game where you can utilize the facts that you learn in history, and it's also an opportunity to be able to tell your child about historical figures, because you have to know them in order to be able to give clues about the person that you're supposed to guess. Anyway, it's a fun game, and she really likes it. It's one of her current favorites, and so we are enjoying this. Those are our plans for America's Story 2. If we finish America's Story 2 and get to go on to America's Story 3, I will definitely let you know what we are planning to do for that curriculum as well. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I really appreciate your time. I'm thankful that you're here. Also, don't forget to check out the playlist. Thank you to Ingrid from the Ingrid Chronicles and Kim, the Homeschooling Grammy, as well as everyone else who included their videos in this playlist. I hope that you have a great year, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.